We're actually on a bus tour to Guatapé, but I want to do the video for how to save money so you can retire and travel. Now, I said on my video, it's like 3 sentences on an index card, but I actually don't have an index card, so we're going to have to pretend. But basically, I think you can really condense like all the financial advice into just 3 short sentences, and then you'll have like enough money to retire on. So if you can imagine the index card, I have my friend here with me. The first thing is just live below your means. It's very basic, right? Like if you make 50,000, act as if you're making 35,000, and do that throughout your life. Like even as you increase your income, like you make 100,000, still act like you're earning 50,000. So that's the first part of it. Now, what's your reaction to that?
I've always lived by those words. You're going to end up a lot better off in life and happier in life if you do that.
Okay. Now, so that's the first part. Now, my friend's actually supposed to be saying some funny things, but so far it's very disappointing, I gotta say, because I'm not laughing, and like he's supposed to be the funny guy, I'm the smart guy, right? But maybe I'm thinking, maybe I'm the funny guy, and he's the smart guy.
No,
so maybe...
I'm the funny guy, and you're the dumb straight guy who doesn't get the jokes.
Okay. Now, the second part on my index card, which if I had an index card, it would be on it, but it's on a piece of paper, as you can see on the graphic, is invest your money in broad-based index funds. It's very basic, but a lot of people, they're into individual stocks or mutual funds, and you can see the stats will show that in the long run you don't outperform index funds. So if you go to Vanguard or Fidelity, you can find, you can easily invest your money in broad-based index funds. There are 2 ways, right? Mutual funds, index mutual funds, or ETFs, which you can buy as stocks, but they're actually index funds.
Yeah, that's the best approach. You want to invest in passive funds, not actively managed, because the actively managed are going to underperform and charge you more money, and you'll pay higher taxes on what you make. And so what we have in mind, generally speaking, is we're talking something like Vanguard S&P 500 or Vanguard Total Stock Market. You probably want some international exposure as well, so you might want something like Vanguard Total Stock Market ex-US, meaning excluding the US. Some of that as well, just in case over time the rest of the world overperforms the US. But at least my approach is to put a smaller percentage to that and rely more on the performance of U.S. stocks.
Okay, now what part of that, what you just said, is the funny part?
Well, this is not exactly a funny topic. This is a topic where we're trying to provide guidance to help people get some measure of financial freedom. So not a funny topic.
All right. Now, the third part of what I want to say is dollar cost averaging into those mutual funds. That means on a regular basis, maybe every week, you put a portion of your income into these index funds. You could do it as a automatic investment, so you don't even think about it, where it just comes straight from your checking account and it just puts it in the market, and you don't have to worry about, is the market too high, is it too low? It just goes into the market, and in the long run, it's actually better, because studies seem to show that you really can't time the market, and then when you think it's high, it just goes higher, and sometimes you think it's low and it would just go lower. So it's just hard to do. And so the great part about dollar cost averaging is you don't have to think about it. It's just automatically, like every week, a portion of your income, a portion of your savings just goes into these index funds.
Yeah, timing the market inevitably fails. So dollar cost averaging is a way basically just to say when you have regular discretionary funds to put into your investments, do it over time. Don't try to time the market. Through dollar cost averaging, you'll buy less when stocks are higher and more when stocks are lower, which is exactly what you want to do. And to put some meat on the bones here, if you invested, for instance, 50 years ago, $10,000 into the S&P 500, just put it in and left it there. 50 years later, I'll take a 2-second pause while you try to figure out around how much money you think you would have after 50 years. That was my 2-second pause. Well, you're wrong. You would have over $2 million just on a $10,000 investment. One way that you can validate what I just said, because it sounds so incredibly ridiculous, is go on Wikipedia and as your search, put in S&P 500, and it'll show you the year-by-year returns over the last 50 years and how your 10,000 would result in over 2 million today.
Now, I've actually read like a lot of books on investing, and some of these books are like 200 pages long, and essentially sometimes after reading 200 pages, it's really those three things, and like I said, it's just so it's so simple, right? And so you don't have to like read the 1,000 books that I've read. If you just follow these three principles, I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, there's some nuance and layers to it as well. For instance, when the market declines rapidly, which it will do, and both of us have experienced those kind of horrifying moments through our life, don't panic and hold the course, stay the course. Most people do panic. They sell when the market nosedives, and what you've done then is you've locked in your losses. Because when it inevitably goes back up, you'll have missed out on some or most or all of those returns. I mean, two examples I'd give you are the tech stock crash in 2000 and the Great Recession in 2008. Both of us, I'll speak for both of us, correct me if I'm wrong, but lost 20, 30, 40, 50% of our money. But if you just held the course, within 3-4 years, you probably quadrupled it back. So don't panic.
Now, I do know people who do follow this plan. Sometimes I set them up on this plan, and they don't look at the market. They don't care about the market. They don't check their brokerages every day. They check it maybe like once a year, and they're at peace, and they have a lot of money. And they're, like I say, just automatically gets invested. They don't care the market's up or down. They just trust that at the end of a number of years, maybe 20 years, there's going to be enough money for them to retire.
Yeah, there are actually studies that show that women are better investors than men. They have better outcomes because, generally speaking, they take the approach that you just spoke about, whereas men tend to check every day and want to buy and sell, not the right approach.